Hey Grace family, and welcome back to our midweek check-in. So it's been a few weeks since I've been able to do this, and I'm super excited to be back with you, to be able to meet you in the middle of your week. And so I want to take some time and look back at our last few weeks. We've been spending time looking at Paul's prayer to the Philippians. We've looked at verses 3 through 11 and have just been living there, I don't know how long, 4, 5 or 6 weeks kind of thing. But it's been so encouraging to me, and I've really loved dissecting that truth. And what I wanted to share with you in the middle of your week is a quote that I came across that kind of gives a little bit of a different perspective of this prayer as a whole, and maybe summarizes it well in a way that can encourage us in how we apply it and live it out. So this is what Warren Wiersbe has to say about verses 3 through 11. He says, "This then is true Christian fellowship, a having in common that is much deeper than mere friendship." And then he goes on and he quotes different parts of these verses. 1, I have you in my mind, I have you in my heart, and I have you in my prayers. He says this is the kind of fellowship that produces joy, and it is the single mind that produces this kind of fellowship. And I just thought that was really well said. That throughout this prayer we see Paul saying, I have you in my mind, I'm thinking of you, I'm holding you in my heart, I have you in my heart, and certainly this is a prayer, I have you in my prayers. And that's something that I could just connect with as I look at our church and just feel the need to be a part of this, the love to be a part of it, the love that I have for this body. I just wanted to kind of encourage you in that. If each and every one of us as individuals were to say, man, I have my church, my brothers and sisters on my mind, I have them in my heart, and I have them in my prayers. If those things are happening on an individual basis in how we're viewing the church, then we're going to see the fruit that comes from this prayer. You know, we've seen Paul mention that genuine koinonia, that genuine fellowship, and in that we're all partakers of God's grace together, that His gospel is advancing in and through us, and we have that partnership. And then some of the things we've been talking about the last couple of weeks, that God's love is abounding more and more in knowledge and all discernment, so that we can approve what is excellent, and so be pure and blameless for the day of Christ, and then even beyond that, filled with the fruit of His righteousness through Jesus Christ. These are all things we can have, all for the glory of God. And if we choose to live it out, kind of like Warren Wiersbe summarizes, that Paul's saying, I have you in my mind, I have you in my heart, I have you in my prayers. If it's not just a sermon series, but it's truly a lifestyle, then all the fruit we just listed and so much more is going to be our reality that we get to live in. So that's my simple encouragement to you in the middle of your week. Don't view this as just something to listen to. View it as something to live out, and genuinely view one another in that way, so much that we're thinking about one another, holding each other in our hearts, praying for one another, and then we get to experience that fruit. So looking ahead at this next week, it is Resurrection Week, maybe the best week of the year to just remember at a greater depth than we typically do every day or every week, the resurrection of Jesus Christ and what that means for us as followers. And so we're going to actually take a pause from Philippians. We're going to be looking at 1 Peter, starting in chapter 1 and verse 3 with the theme of living hope. That's going to be our conversation come Sunday morning. So read through that. I'm not sure how many verses we'll get in. The whole section is verses 3 through 9, but that'll be where we're at Sunday morning. So come Sunday morning, we've got our 9 o'clock kind of donut and fruit bar and fellowship time in the community center, and then Sunday morning worship will begin at 10 o'clock where we have our service there. So don't miss out on that. Also, don't miss out on our Good Friday service. That'll be 6:30 in the community center for the adults, and then rooms 101 and 102 for kids ages 3 through 10. Again, Friday at 6:30, and then Sunday morning starting at 9 a.m. So know I am praying over you this week. Know that I have you in my thoughts, in my heart, and in my prayers, and encourage you to have that same attitude towards this whole body. And let's see what fruit God produces through that, and then come ready to celebrate everything Jesus has done through His life, death, and resurrection, and the living hope we have because of that. So have a great week, and we'll see you this weekend, church.